and that is black holes. And when they talk about black holes, it's like this outer space vortex, and it draws things into it. And I've always pondered, what is that?
It's law of attraction. It's law of attraction, drawing that which is likened to itself. And it is the actual forming from the universe of those specific planets. It's the beginning of more. That's what the vortex always is. It's the beginning, it's the vibrational genesis of the gathering of components that will eventually be a physical manifestation.
Wow.
As you stand in a vortex, you are the vortex yourself. And the vortex around you is, in a sense, a projection of the vortex you are, of the nodal point you are, of the multidimensional being you each are. But you are doing that in a way where you can experience it as a larger outer reflection that shows you, in a sense, how big you are. The vortex is you. It's a reflection of the true being, or shall we say a truer representation of the fuller being that you are.
You know, we think of waves as like, you know, traces on an oscilloscope or something like that, but actually a wave is a three-dimensional vortex. I realized, oh my God, if this was in 3D, this would be a vortex along an axis of rotation. I'm going to demonstrate to you what happens when you spin and when angular momentum is applied to a string. And here's the coherent waveform. And here with the strobe, I can stop the waveform that's actually a 3D wave. And can you, everybody see that this becomes a 2D sine wave? And that's how we visualize it. But actually, if I show you the whole thing, then you see that it's actually a 3D vortex, right? Spinning in space. So let me show you again. I gotta change the strobe frequency.
Generally speaking, when you have multiple realities, they are vibrating, in a sense, flickering, if you wish to put it that way, on and off very quickly. In a sense, analogous to the idea of what you call this strobe. The idea being that because it flashes so quickly, you get a smooth sense of continuity. But physical reality, compared to the totality of all these vibrations, is actually something more like this. So, the idea is that physical reality is really a series. Motion in physical reality is really a series of these frozen moments. But you have this, 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 this. But you do it at a rate where it seems smooth and continuous.
There we go. Can you see how it becomes? It seems to be a sine wave, but actually is a result of a vorticular action of a rotating system. Here, that I'm describing the string not in terms of some, you know, esoteric 26-dimension theory, but actually as a structure of space-time torque itself, so that what we see is the electromagnetic field coming out as space-time torque radiating after it has been contracted into the system and forced angular momentum. And so that the feedback is continuous. And those lobe structures that are generated when the string goes into stable harmonics resemble very much the lobe structures that I was getting when the spheres are intersecting in this geometry.
The idea of the rotational forces is paramount to our understanding of existence and the nature of the structure of physical reality, along with an underlying tetrahedral template structure. That, in conjunction with the rotational spiral forces, is how physical reality increases itself, expands itself, moves itself forward in these spiral formations.
Source remains non-resistant, and law of attraction responds to that non-resistant vibration, which is what creates this continual vortex of well-being that is the underlying basis of the eternal existence of all that is. But then from that source there is the projection or the extension of the leading edge and desire, not just willingness but desire to explore contrast, understanding that in that exploration of contrast that law of attraction is going to respond to that as well, which perpetuates the duality which is necessary for all expansion.
If you take two of these protons, little black hole protons, and you calculate their strength, the force between two black hole protons is very large, so it can overcome the repulsion. But then you calculate how fast two protons like that with that force would rotate around each other. And you find that, they rotate at very high speed, 10 to the 32 centimeters per second square, very rapidly. And then you calculate, that was their acceleration. You calculate their velocity, and V turns out to equal 2.9 multiplied by 10 to the 10 centimeters per second. Anybody recognize that number? Very good. The speed of light. V equals C. So now, these little protons at the center of the atom are not only infinitely dense, but they're spinning at near the speed of light. They're spinning at very high velocity, near the speed of light. So you know all these masters that walked around saying, "You are light"? They meant it. You're transferring information to the universe and back at the speed of light. You're flickering really, really quickly. Push the vacuum, to the vacuum, back out, to the vacuum, back out, to the vacuum, back out. So who are you when you're the vacuum?
The idea being thus, that reality is already moving, in a sense, at a very, very high rate, as we said, billions in a sense of flickers per second. But you're only perceiving so many of them to create the experience of physical reality. You can broaden that window of exactly how many flickers you're capable of perceiving and experiencing. And that's the whole idea. So, expansion, enlightenment, is really the process of stepping up your vibration, stepping up your frequency, so that you be able to match more of the beats, get in sync with more of the flickers, and thus be able to perceive more of the realities that exist already all around you, but which you find are now invisible to you if you do not actually vibrate at a rate that is commensurate with the ability to perceive more of those flickers.
So what you see with your eyes is a vibrational interpretation, and what you hear with your ears is a vibrational interpretation. It's all about vibration that you're turning into reality by your ability to translate vibration. There is a predecessor to that reality, which we are calling a vibrational reality. It's the reality that comes into vibrational beingness and exists in a stable environment until a perceiver approaches it with his ability to perceive and perceives it into reality.